Why is it that a lot of people who do keto end up gaining all the weight back and more? Well, let me explain how this works. In other videos, I've talked about how a calorie deficit actually works to get you to lose body fat, to lose real adipose, aka fat tissue, aka lose the belly. But there's also something called water weight. And here's the thing is that when you cut out carbs because you're doing keto, what happens is you drop a lot of water weight because carbs do cause you to retain water, which is why you'll lose like 5, 10, even more pounds in the first week or two on keto because your body's flushing out a bunch of water. And sure, your energy levels kind of go down and all the other stuff and you don't feel so good. But some people, eventually their body does switch into fat burning mode. So they think that they're burning fat because their body is using fat as a primary energy source. And so their energy levels come back up. And so then they lose a bit of weight because obviously when you cut out carbs, as long as you're not going too high in fats, you will be in a bit of a deficit. So you might start losing weight. But then what happens is these keto people start eating all these high fat keto foods that say keto friendly. And then your weight loss starts to plateau. And then you start wondering what's going on. And then you go to a family function and you eat carbs and all of a sudden you gain 10 pounds back in a single day and you freak out. And then you try to start eating like a normal person. You start trying to thrash your calories down again. You start to experience a lot of dieting fatigue symptoms very quickly because carbs are very satiated. It's really hard to stay away from carbs. And then before you know it, you end up back where you started, but worse. And the funny thing is some people, when they do keto, they just lose the water weight, but they're not in a deficit because they start eating those high fat foods right away. So they actually start gaining body fat even though they've lost weight from the water weight. And then when they gain the water weight back from adding carbs, they've actually added body fat to their body because they were never in a deficit in the first place. That's why they end up heavier than they started. So this is one of the reasons why I'm very anti-keto. Have I used it successfully with a handful of clients? Yes, there is a very small subset of people who do respond well to keto in comparison with a higher carb diet. And you always need to keep proteins high. That's a universal on any diet that you're on. When you're in a deficit, you have to keep protein high. You're going to lose muscle and that's going to mess up your metabolism. You're not look that good because you don't want to just lose muscle. Oh, I lost weight. Yeah, you lost 20 pounds of muscle. You don't look any better than when you started. Versus you lose 20 pounds of fat, you will look a lot better than when you started, okay? You lose more than that, even better. But the point being, if you want to actually lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. There's no like magic, macro other than protein. It's going to make your fat loss results better. And what I've actually found is that higher carbs works better because your energy levels are better, so you feel better. You get to eat more normal food. Low fat, high carb, high protein recipes are very easy to make, very delicious versus all these keto recipes. You have to use all these weird ingredients like coconut flour and almond flour and stuff that doesn't even taste good. Has a bunch of fat in it anyways. So again, very, very anti-keto. There's a lot of reasons why keto doesn't work. I could probably do more videos on this, but if you like clearing up misconceptions and learning how to actually lose body fat, drop me a follow, check out the other content. Inshallah, it's going to help. Assalamu alaikum.